Sean Strickland shocked the world and upset Israel Adesanya at UFC 293 to capture the middleweight title. See what fighters thought of his performance in the latest edition of MMA Pros React.
Yeah, a little bit shocked because honestly, before this fight, I think easy. It's easy a little bit, like have how to say. He's very special for Strickland. Strickland it's like too simple for him. I think before like that.
Yeah.
But I forget about this moment. Easy, he's very good when he's counterattack. When somebody attack him a lot, he's very good with this. But he's not too good when he have to attack. Yeah. And Strickland, he's going to fight and he do everything just for make everything like counter punches. And he took him with good attack, like, because easy going like I think he lost the focus a little bit. Yeah, and he just make him with this straight attack. Straight attack is always dangerous for counter punchers.
Crazy, man. If he was gonna win, I thought it would be by knockout. I thought that he would catch him, and he almost did in the first. I feel like Izzy kind of came out with the same mentality he did against Yoel Romero, and Yoel Romero just couldn't capitalize on it. And what do I know about Izzy? But I think that his problem is he's willing to have these close fights and let the judges dictate what's going on, because I just feel like he should have been a little bit more urgent in those third, fourth, and fifth rounds.
I mean, I was just happy for the guy, more than him, more than anything, just him. Like, I think it just he gives hope to a lot of people, whether you like the guy or not, whether some of his things that he says are very outlandish and very brash and they come off-putting, not only to most but to me included. But when you know his story and you know who Sean is and what made Sean the way he is today, it is a replication of, I think, hope to many, many people. That I think there's many people in this world, especially during that late 90s, early 2000 pandemic of opioids and people addicted to drugs and broken homes and all the shit, man, that this guy had to go through. So it was a great moment for me just to sit back and just take it and we gave this guy a home. We helped this guy succeed and realize his full potential, and not only this gym but his girlfriend, the people around him, Alex Zarate, myself. It was a moment I felt that just was a very, very nice human element to it.
Man, I was pretty baffled, if I'm being honest with you. I was like, it was weird watching that fight in a sense, because I'm really high on Israel Adesanya. I'm pretty sure everybody else in the world is as well too. So I love his striking. I love how he sets stuff up, and it was just weird seeing Sean just being able to walk him down and just, man, defensively, man, he was, some of the stuff that he was doing from a technical standpoint looked off, but it was also kind of was going back into using his Philly shell, but also using with his arms extended in certain positions, looking like he was framing. So it was kind of hard to get the strikes around. I know he was really using that every time Izzy was trying to throw the right hand over top. He was using his arm as a post, kind of using the Philly shell. Then he'd bring his elbow up, do all this other stuff to kind of create frames, kind of create obstacles for the right hand not to be able to land. So he was doing a really great job of that. I just didn't expect everything else. I thought Izzy would eat up his kicks. I thought Izzy was going to be the one that was going to be out kicking him. I even felt like because again, I just kind of felt like Sean was at times, whenever he goes back into a little modified Philly, his right hand would always kind of start moving forward, and to me it looked like there's openings there. But in that fight, I don't know what was going on, if that opening just wasn't there. I had to rewatch the fight, but there's a lot of things I saw. I was like, man, Izzy can get to him, but Sean was doing everything fantastically defensively correct, and also at the same time it was kind of when you get a super technical guy going against a guy who is who knows some stuff, but it's also The way I explained it to my teammates, what it looked like was a guy who's really good going against a guy who's spazzy, but knows how to throw punches. And it was like, it was weird. It was weird. But if you look at the actual fight, like Sean Strickland is by no means a spaz. He was doing all the right things, but that was my interpretation of the fight. And it was like, it was just like the guy was just gritty going in. But yeah, no, that's again, that's weird. I'm still baffled by it. I was expecting Izzy to walk right over Strickland, and that was not the case by any means.
The main events, they happen so late sometimes, especially if the fight starts a little slow, I'll nod off, I'll fall asleep, and I've missed a lot of big moments like that where I wake up the next day and I'm like, I can't believe I felt. And that almost happened with this one. Like the whole first round's going, I'm kind of like nodding off. They're feeling each other out, you know what I'm saying? And thank goodness Sean rocked him with that punch, because that almost made me.
That woke everyone up, I think.
Yeah, I was holding my baby. We were both falling asleep, and I just about jumped out of the chair when that happened. I was like, am I dreaming right now? I was pinching myself to see if it was really happening. But no, I mean, Sean just went out there, and it was crazy, because it's just like, perception is everything, especially in this sport. Stylebender's been touted as the most sophisticated striker in the history of, the middleweight division and MMA period. But even going back to his kickboxing days, if you go back and watch those kickboxing fights, the people who give him the most trouble are people who are defensively sound, who just come forward and put steady pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? They don't bite on all the feints. They have a nice tight guard. They can defend themselves, and they can strike when the opportunity is there. And that's what Sean did. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny. I'm seeing all the memes where people are talking about Sean Strickland beat him with this stance, or he just beat him with, some basic stuff. But, people got to appreciate, it might seem simple what he was doing, but he was doing it at such a high level that he was able to beat someone like, more often than not, if you go in there and you try to throw 1-2s at Stylebender, you're getting knocked out in the first round. His defensive abilities, his abilities to spot the openings, throwing with no telegraph. I mean, it was really just a beautiful performance, and it was crazy to watch. It was inspiring to watch.
Oh, it was great, man. Yeah, I seen maturity in him. Like he got knocked out. He's been like, he's been like he was treated like a clown and stuff like that. Like he had a lot of pressure, and he's changed. Like you can see it through his fighting style. Like he was doing things with more of an IQ. He was checking kicks. He was doing like the Kamaga style. He was blocking all this. He had the Philly boxing style against Izzy. Like that's crazy. Like, and he was pushing the pace. He did what a lot of people don't do in the MMA world, and is they stay in that kind of zone where you're reachable. Like you're like, oh, okay, I'm a little fast, I can touch you. But that's what Izzy, he was fighting. He was fighting Vittori, who does that. Paulo Costa, where they kind of try to get you in those angles where they can touch you. But Izzy had such a great style of being a striker and a sniper, where he's jumping tower to tower. He's not staying in the middle with you, and that's what was good. Is Strickland's style was straightforward, dude. I even told people that were betting, I was like, man, if I was put money, because I don't put money on this stuff, I don't really care. But Strickland, dude, he was that wild card. You always got a wild card in every weight class, bro. There's always somebody putting in work. You don't want it more than the other guy, and that's what happened. And I think Izzy kind of let the crowd get to him and try to break him.
I mean, it was I'm a big Izzy fan. I felt like Sean fought a great fight. He's very talented. He puts in the work. Everyone that is around him says he's the hardest worker they know. So, you like to see that thing pay off. It was funny, like in the build-up, me and my wife, like we watched all the embeddeds, and I was like, man, this is really just like Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Like,
yeah.
You could definitely see the parallels there. And Sean, I think Sean says some goofy, crazy stuff sometimes, and so people forget like how talented he is as a fighter. And his style is a little unorthodox and seems a little bit goofy. But if you look at the stats, like he's got the best defensive percentages in middleweight history, I think. And at least right now, he's like way up there, number one. And so, I feel like he deserves a lot more credit than people are necessarily giving him. Even Dana was like, Izzy just had an off night, and sometimes it's like that. And I think, a big part of that was that Sean's style was really tough for Izzy. You know, how many people do you see walk Izzy down? Like, not really. You know, Pereira did a little bit, but he didn't do it in the way Sean Strickland did it. Sean Strickland walked him down for 5 rounds, won 4-1, but easily they could have said he won the second too. Like, it wasn't like a blowout. It'll be interesting to see. I feel like if you're going to beat Sean Strickland, you got to be able to threaten the wrestling just to stop the pressure. And so if they run that fight back immediately, I don't know if Izzy has the tools to, like, he can obviously knock anyone out. He's a tremendous striker, but I don't know if he has the tools to beat Sean over 5 rounds, which if you would have asked me on Friday night, I would be like, oh yeah, for sure. You know, Izzy can beat anyone. But just watching the way that fight went down, I don't see how he's going to stop the pressure unless he knocks him out, which I don't think. I think people maybe think because Pereira did it, it's super easy to do, but I don't think it is. I think it's a lot harder. If you look at the guys that have been able to beat Sean, Pereira knocked him out with 1 shot. He got spinning hook kicked, like freak kind of thing against
Seletsky.
Yeah. And then Usman was able to threaten the wrestling, pressure him, kind of stop the pressure from Sean. But the other thing too is that Sean's style after his motorcycle wreck kind of changed a little bit. He wasn't always like standing straight up like that and like pressuring. That was kind of after the wreck. I don't know if he has like an injury or what that kind of keeps him from like being in a lower stance, but maybe it worked out for him. He looked great, man. And then, you know, it's hard. Like, I think he's a goofball. I think some of the shit he says is like unbelievable, but it's hard not to be happy for the guy. And, you know, his coach, Eric Nixick's always been a super good dude to me. Big fan of that guy. Big fan of the gym they have over there too. So, you know, pretty happy for him all in all.
It's pretty crazy. I can tell you. But it's nice. I think about it's good for the division. I think about like how like competitive like the division came to be like right now. So we have like good names this division, but the division is kind of stuck, and now we can see like new movement. So I'm excited for, but it's good when the things like that happens. Good. Look like my division 125 is good when like Grasso have the belt here.
Yeah, I mean, I did not see that coming at all. I mean, Strickland didn't switch anything up. He didn't come out with anything crazy. He just did the exact same thing he always does. And I thought Israel would have, you know, found a hole in that or, you know, game plan for it. I think the biggest thing that did surprise me with Strickland was his defense. I thought, you know, as he marches forward, it seemed like at least with Alex was able to kind of get in, like hit him a lot and touch him a lot, and then obviously put him away early. So I thought Izzy would do the same thing. But just the way, especially with the kicks, how Sean was checking the kicks, blocking the body kicks, even that like the inside out of the question mark kick that Izzy was throwing a lot, it seemed like Sean was like on par with that kind of speed with his defense. I think they both, I mean, Izzy might have even thrown more punches and kicks and stuff, but just the way Sean was able to defend it all and then land his jab cross, you know, over and over and over, and then that push kick a little bit. It was, I mean, it was awesome to watch somebody just take 3 weapons and then some great defense and just walk down one of the best strikers in the UFC right now.
Yeah, I watched the fight. MMA matches doesn't make sense sometimes, you know. I think Sean came in there with like nothing to lose, that mentality, and Izzy just looked like he kind of had an off night, you know. Didn't seem like he was in that flow, looked a little stiff, looked a little tense, but you know, styles make fights, so maybe like that Sean Strickland kind of pressure style just was like the problem for Izzy. But yeah, that was wild, man, and it just makes you see that, you know, anything can happen in this sport, which makes it so exciting.
Camp and everything, I'm always going to bed early, but I'm like, okay, I'm watching this fight, and so I like set up on the couch. I fell asleep a little bit before, but then when it was his fight, I was awake and I was watching that fight, and what an inspiring performance, man! Like, so amazing to see him. Like, he's a hard worker. He's in there. I know his training isn't of the traditional sense, but like, he's doing it, and he's doing it right, and he's doing it like the honest way, hard work. And to see him go out there and like get the job done and go decision, it's like anyone could say, oh, it's a puncher's chance, blah blah blah, but to go decision with Adesanya, amazing, inspiring.
This is a crazy, you know, it's crazy, but it's very interesting because, you know, everyone who focuses on his career, don't matter who you are, that's what I think he shows to the world. If you believe, if you work hard, you can make it. For I think there's a kind of what people see like champions. They have like a style, of how you gotta act, how you gotta do, and he shows like he got a lot of will to win, and he believing in himself, and he could take the win, and that's what I think champions are made of, believing always in yourself. Of course, you gotta do diet and don't drink alcohol, but he do the opposite and works for him, and that's what I think it's interesting, because he looks different. His style is different. I don't know if it's just what he sells, but looks like he has a different style of champions.
Yeah.
But I really love it. I like it, and it's a motivation for a lot of different personnel to start training. People who has he looks like a normal guy. Normal guy. No, not fancy, not wearing like expensive clothes and all this things. So it's cool, because he's gonna bring a lot of people who see themselves on him, as a champion, and it's good for this sport. That's what I think. Yeah.